German Pro wrap-up on its way. Urs goes 2 for 2.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
And we're back for another installment of Heavy Muscle Radio. We are live. I'm Dave Palumbo, joined by the technician Chris Aceto. And Urs Kelsinski goes 2 for 2, 2 weeks in a row, 2 victories, finishes that second victory in his hometown of Germany, or in his home country of Germany, I should say. And he stole that qualification from poor Quinton Uria, but it was a good battle. What did you think about Urs from last week to this week?
I think it was better this week.
Yeah, I thought it was a little drier, right?
Right,
He was a little harder. Yeah.
The front double looked like it had a better taper, which means he was probably tighter. I mean, it already does have a good taper, but it looked like just wider up top, which means tighter in the middle.
Yeah, I think, a lot of these guys are worried about coming in full. He was very full last week, but I didn't think he had the sharpness, especially from the back last week. He's sharper here. What you notice though here is, I think this is a better look, for him. But he doesn't look quite as big as he looked last week, and I think the wow effect last week, because he put so much muscle size on and gained so much weight on the scale, people were wowed by that. Then this week, he did the right thing. Like, the wrong thing would have been to come in fuller. He came in drier. And I think when the judges see an improvement from week to week, they tend to reward that. And I think Quinton kind of looked the same, maybe got even a little, maybe not as dry. And I think that's what won it from. Because I have to believe, just, as bodybuilding fans, I'm sure the judges wanted to see Quinton win the show and qualify for the Olympia, right? But you got to pick the best guy at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, best guy. It's I'm sure that, if you're a judge, you're hoping that you can send someone else to the Olympia. So it's always a challenge if you're judging the same show 2 weeks in a row. You're not biased, but it's just a good thing to see another person go to the Olympia. So having said that, then it was probably clearer this week than last week.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I mean, a lot of people think that Quinton should have won this thing. I thought I would have had no problem with Quinton winning last week. I thought Urs was better this week, and so. But what was the deciding factor? Do you think? Obviously, we weren't there. We haven't talked to a judge, but what do you think the deciding factor was?
Well, I think, looking at this video, I saw it and I thought Quinton looked better, and I will go down in history as saying that you do have to be there, because I do know that that Urs has a thin skin look to his physique always, which is a big advantage. It just gives a little bit more illusion of having better condition that may not show up on a video. So if I'm looking at the video, I can make the argument for sure for Quinton, but the judges are judging from 20 feet away. This video was shot from 50 feet away and blasted into my basement office in my house. I'm at a disadvantage.
Does Quinton does he remind you of like a Sean Roden at all? Do you get that impression, or is he better or worse? What do you think?
I think Quinton is has Roden qualities, but he's got his own qualities. He's actually rounder than Sean. Sean had just all illusion roundness. Mm-hmm. Quinton has genuine roundness to his muscle that I think Sean didn't have. I mean, he's getting second, and we're talking about him right away because that's how good he is. Nothing to take away from Urs, because Urs is fantastic as well. I think the Urs story is, next to Derek winning the Arnold and beating Sampson, is the second biggest story, straight off the top of my head, of the year.
Here's my question that I always give you. And I know, and I don't know if I don't necessarily know what the answer is going to be to this question, but I give it to you all the time when we are in these situations. All right, Urs wins the last 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Who, if we put these both guys on the Olympia stage, given the competitors we know are there, who does better in the Olympia?
I'd probably say, I would say Urs, and this is the reason why. Because he's been to the Olympia so many times, he wouldn't have and he won't have the nerve factor. And he would have confidence coming in, seeing what he's just accomplished. So I would expect a better look even at the Olympia than here, simply because he's done it. He's delivered at the Olympia. He's delivered at the Arnold. He's done so many shows. For someone so young, he's done just a ton of shows in Classic and now in Open. I mean, who competes more than him? Urs competed, at lots of shows several years after the Arnold or after the Olympia, where a lot of people just do that show and that's it.
Right. I think that one of Urs's best attributes, and that I think might have pushed him over the top. I mean, we said his conditioning is great too, but his presentation is really good. It's very professional.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, I mean, we know that presentation counts for a lot. I mean, he really knows how to show off his physique. He hides his weaknesses. He shows his strengths. Quentin he's good. His presentation is good, but it's not great. I'm sure if Cormier was here with us, he'd be saying, I can help him and I can fix him and I can move his body into the right, but he's not exploiting his gifts, to the best of his ability. And that it might have been just that factor alone could have pushed Urs over the top, just the professionalism on stage. And, I did it on my wrap-up video. I said this, 3 things you have to control over when you're on a bodybuilding stage: conditioning, presentation, and tan. And if you screw up any of those, shame on you, because those are completely variables that you have control over.
Well, I was just talking to someone recently, and at this level, presentation is so important. Presentation meaning this: you can have a better front double and a better front lat spread than someone else, but if you're doing 3 rounds and your quads go on the front double, or if you pull a vacuum, you can't vacuum up the full time on the front double, or if you're not the first one and the last one out of the shot, we're close. Everything counts. Yeah. So presentation is, yes, gigantic.
And in Classic, I will say this: one of the things that the Classic guys have is they know that part of the Classic physique division's requirements is presentation, hitting those classic poses, being able to, wow people with how you can show off that physique, whether it be through a vacuum or some of the side poses, the twisting poses. And it translates well onto an open stage. It really does. And I think a lot of the open guys years ago used to do those poses. They got away from it. And they're more into hitting these just like muscle poses and just stomping around on stage. And I think that when you take it's like taking like a trained dancer and putting him in a movie, and you're like Patrick Swayze, like he would Dirty Dancing and all those little parts he did. He was a trained dancer, and everyone's like, oh, look how great he is. He was a trained dancer. Well, Urz's presentation is good because he was forced for it to be good in Classic. And now he's just taking over to the open division. So it's almost like they went to college, and took a college class on presentation in Classic. Then they moved to the open, and it's almost like they're more prepared in the open class. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's why they, Woody Allen had tried out for that role, but Patrick Swayze beat him out only on No, it does make sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, same thing with Travolta. Travolta could dance, and and he look at all those, Grease and all the other movies, Pulp Fiction and Saturday Night Fever. It's like they have an extra skill set, and I think that this is a good reason that these bodybuilders should look at and say, you know what, I better practice my posing more. I better hire a posing coach. I better devote more time. I wish, in hindsight, I spent more time working on my posing, now in hindsight, because I know that it would have only helped my physique. And toward the end of my career, my posing was better, but not in the early part. And if you remember, one of the things that all the guys in Venice, California did, you were out there, so you know this, they would go into that posing room and for hours, and they would pose Cormier and Rico and Flex and Dillette. And although Dillette was sitting down more than he was practicing his posing, but that was a big deal. And that's why those guys were masters on stage of presentation.
Yeah, it counts. So, counts at the Olympia probably more than anything going.
What's up, Xavier Wills in the house? Sending our love and prayers to you, Xavier. Hope everything's all right with your family.
Ask Xavier, handicap the top two.
Xavier, who do you have winning? Who'd you have winning? My terrible feeling is that this guy, poor guy, Quentin Aria, can't make it to the Olympia. Does he deserve an invite, special invite?
No, because Sass did like 19 shows and he qualified.
No, I understand that, but yeah. Well, I
hate the idea of a special invite.
You know what? I don't. I'll tell you what. I liked it years ago when they would do one. I don't want more than one, but I think that they should give one person a special invite. And they don't have to use it every year, but in circumstances like this, it's warranted. In circumstances like when Levrone wanted to come back and compete, it was warranted. There are circumstances where a special invite is warranted. You know what I mean? And if as long as it's not abused and it's used properly, I think that it adds a nice flavor. There's nothing wrong with inviting someone to the Olympia that is going to, number one, bring views to the Olympia, or number two, a deserved competitor that just for some reason, tried and just never made it, even though they probably deserve to. But I mean, you might disagree with me, but that's just the way I feel.
I think
he had hers.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everyone's saying, oh, Quentin doesn't have density. What does that mean? Do you know what that means? I think he's pretty dense to me.
Yeah, I think he lost the crazy wildness, fullness that he had at the first two shows.
Yeah, I thought he was a little flat too.
And that's maybe what people are seeing. Like, I'm sure if you put a screenshot from the Texas show, or was it the Tampa show, he looked like just blown out, huge.
Yeah.
The good way. And you put it against this look. I think the former look would be the German look.
So you're saying he was trying to come down too much, maybe?
Yeah, he tried to come down too much and trying to chase some condition, and to me he just looked ginormous at the first show, and he looked big there. But was he radically sharper here than the first show? I don't know. I mean, I haven't.
That's Tampa. That's his Tampa look.
I haven't sat down and. Yeah, maybe.
So you like that better, that look?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it's the same, different lighting, but I mean, I guarantee he's lighter at this show.
Oh yeah. I think people kept telling him, get harder. You're going against Urs, and maybe that wasn't the best advice. Maybe the fullness.
I've coached people to a lot of losses trying to get harder.
This is a good look. You're right. I forgot how good he was here at Tampa. But I don't know. Like I said, I believe he belongs on that Olympia stage. And, I made we did an iron debate this past Thursday, and I did kind of like a radical assessment because, they're trying to figure out how to, get less people to the Olympia and keep the lineups a little smaller, which I like. And I just think that there should be some absolute qualifiers out there. Certain shows like the Olympia Top 3, the Arnold, the New York Pro, the Pittsburgh, Dubai, all the shows that have a lot of money. If you give away over $100,000, or you're a top tiered show that's been around for a long time, I say give an automatic invite if you win that show. But I think the other shows, I personally think that the other competitors should be invited. Like it should be a panel of judges that say, of the other winners of the shows throughout the year, who does, let's pick 10 more people who deserve to be there, because we're going to eliminate these people anyway that don't deserve to be there. So let's just pick 10 more people. So automatic invites, and then, have automatic qualifiers, and then you have some invites. And I think that would solve the number problem. You might not like it, but there is a way to qualify, and then there's a way to get invited.
Yeah.
And I think that would ensure that guys like Quentin would be in that show.
Yeah. So I'm not even familiar with the new rules. What is
these are my new rules that I'm suggesting. The new rules, the new rules will not affect open bodybuilding because there's not that many shows.
Because that's what I was going to say. I was just going to say, any of these guys who won open bodybuilding shows are Olympians, because the competitions are so deep in the open.
Right. Well, there's not that many open shows, but in Classic, for instance, they're going to do the top winners at the shows I just mentioned, including the Romania show. That's a big show. And then there's going to be points awarded for first through fifth place.
In Classic, Pittsburgh, New York, is a Classic.
You automatically qualify in Classic for Pittsburgh, New York, Arnold, top 3 at Olympia, Dubai, and Romania show.
I think those shows should be top 2, and here's the reason why. Like Pittsburgh, Dubai, New York, because if you win New York, or you win Pittsburgh, or you win the Arnold, the guy who gets second probably loses to you by a point.
Yeah.
He's as good as you. The only difference is one of the judges didn't think so.
Right.
So, there's a million shows where you can go to one and say, yeah, the guy's really good. He's great. And you may ask, like, how's he going to do at the Olympia? You say, crush, because the level's so deep, and maybe that competition was not, a high level show, even though it's a pro classic show. But those shows, as I said, you might get second place at both of them, Pittsburgh, New York, Arnold, and you lose by one judge's scorecard.
Right.
So you're, in essence, you are a top guy. And you probably should. I think some of those shows, the super deep shows, that they should take the top 2 in the Classic.
Well, listen to so my suggestion, which obviously doesn't mean a hill of beans. We're just talking hypothetically here, of course, is take the winners of those shows, right, in the top 3 at the Olympia, and then let the judges, the Olympia judging panel, look at all the results from all the other shows, including those shows we just mentioned, and pick 10 more people, or 15 more people on top of that to go to the Olympia. This way, if you have a second place guy at the Arnold that was amazing, they can pick that person. If you have a second place guy like Quentin, who's done 4 shows and was second, he can go. Let the judges pick it, because otherwise, with the point system, at least the way it is, you can be 5th place at if you do every show of the year in Classic, because you just have good you're able to do that. You can qualify for the Olympia by placing 5th, at 20 shows, so there's a flaw in the system. Now, not many people are going to do that, but it is a flaw. So why not just reward the people who deserve to be there? You have some people qualify by merit, and some people get picked. The other rest of the lineup gets picked by the judges as an elimination round, essentially based on their performance over the course of the year. Hey, I got 2 seconds, one at the Arnold, one at the New York Pro. That guy's going. We're picking him, and that's going to ensure that you have the best Olympia lineup possible in every division. They should do that for. So that's my belief. I don't know if they'll do it, but what's wrong with that? I don't know what's wrong with selecting, people that are based on merit that did great over the course of the year.
I mean, my whole point is if you're second at the Pittsburgh or New York or Arnold by merit, you would judge accordingly. You, in this case, if they pick top 2, deserve to go. This way, you're almost getting into opinions of like, okay, who are the top 10 after that? Like some other 11th guy, it gets so conflated. Some guy who's got 11 say, I beat Palumbo at 3 of those shows, even though I didn't get to the Olympia. And he looked great at the other 3 shows, and now they're picking him and not me, and I've already beaten him.
Yeah, but if look, the judges are not stupid. They know who looks good, and they know who's going to look good on the Olympia stage. If the guy who comes in second at the New York Pro happens to suck, he just happened to be the best guy there. I mean, why does he have to go to the Olympia? It's coming in second place. That's why I think the winners absolutely on merit at the top show should go, and then pick the rest of them. I don't know. It's something to consider. I'm not saying I'm 100% in favor of that. I'm just saying I think that would solve the problem, and I don't think because it's not the whole panel being picked. In other words, there are people earning their spot on merit. I don't think there would be that much blowback on it because I think the right people would wind up on that Olympia stage. I really do. But we'll see. We'll see if anyone decides to listen. What they have now is better than what they had last year, though. I mean, what they're going to have for 2026 is better, I think. But there's still – it's not perfect. All right. I wanted to bring up – let me pull up this guy's pictures. Hold on. You and I were super impressed with Edward Cargbo. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
No idea. But
let me pull up his.
I don't have an idea about the name, but I have an idea about the physique.
Yeah.
He looks.
I'm going to pull up his pictures right now. Here we go.
Maybe the best third placer in the last 4 shows.
You actually made the comment that this guy. Why didn't this guy win the show? And it's not necessarily a bad opinion you threw out there. He's really good.
Yeah, it's big side chest, big front double bicep, huge arms.
Sid, maybe you could find some comparison video. I couldn't find comparison video of him, Urs, and Quinton. If you can pull that up, I'd like to see them compared. But I mean, he doesn't have any deficits in his body. I mean, can he be a little drier? Maybe.
Yeah,
he's really good. Yeah, so
he's super impressive.
I got to interview him because I don't really know much about him. He's from Dubai, it says. Once again, we always talk about dark horses, guys who come out of the woodwork that we don't really expect to see. And, you never know who's going to show up. And this guy certainly showed up. Is he an Oxygen Gym guy?
I don't know. Probably they'd have a band. We'd already have known about it. Because
he looks like Godzilla in that picture. All right, here, we got some.
He looks like Phil Hill there in that ab shot.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he did.
Well, there's why, right there.
Just Urs is bigger, I guess. Huh?
Urs has got a big structure with.
Yeah. It's tall, too.
Yes, tall, V-taper. And he put like 9 inches on those arms because in classic, they were like.
They were small.
Yeah. Unless he's talking to Cormier about the arm training.
Go to the next picture, Sid, if you can.
So from that picture, yes, Urs beats him. It may be like he looks giant on that structure, but standing next to other people, he looks a little narrow.
Yeah.
Which, like if you and I were backstage, we'd say he's going to demolish Urs.
Oh, because alone, he's one of these guys who's standing alone. He's the winner, right? Yeah.
Because of the size, but you don't see the width. Like when you walk by someone, or even really necessarily staying in front of them, you don't necessarily see the width.
It's interesting that there wasn't that many. I mean, Sid is having trouble finding comparisons. I was having a lot of trouble finding comparisons of him because I wanted to, in my wrap up, I wanted to bring him up, and there's not that much. You said it. You said it the best, Chris. I don't know why in today's day and age with the technology we have, why there is an incredible video of all these shows. Listen, if you're not going to let people film at the show, then at least at the end, after the show's over, release video so that people can actually see what the heck went on at these shows. I don't understand what everyone's so, hush hush and it's like I feel like we're back in the era where there were no video cameras, like in the 90s. Like no one, only Chris Cormier had a video camera. It was a huge camcorder. Why can't we get some footage of these stage shots? I don't understand why no one has good video that we can put up of these shows. It's like you have to sneak in there with an iPhone and when no one's looking, shoot some footage and then upload it to the Instagram instantly so that people can spread it around. It's like we're trying to observe like a secret UFO project that the government is hiding from us. I just don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. Sid, these pictures suck. You can't see anything here. Even I know they're better than nothing, but it's unbelievable that we don't have any good quality pictures.
Dave, if Urs was in the lobby of the official hotel in a shouting match with the manager, would get video from like 48.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Photos, still photos.
Yeah. Congratulations, by the way, Xavier, on getting your kids. That's awesome. His ex-wife went to jail. He's going to be getting his kids back. She faked cancer. Can you believe that, Chris?
I cannot believe that, but
another lunatic. This poor guy didn't have his kids for I can't tell you how long. It's a crime against humanity. But you know what, Xavier, I love you, man. I'm sending you such prayers, man. That's so great that you're getting your kids. I'm so happy for you. Seriously. Wow. What a nightmare he went through. Unbelievable. But shit happens, I guess. You're very welcome, Xavier. We'll talk later. I'm so happy you're going to get your kids. All right. Did you see the? Well, let's keep going. I gotta tell you, I love Mark Hector. He's probably another one of the guys that's the most underrated guy. Like he's always he's been finishing in the top 3 or 4 in these last couple shows, and he's got so much muscle. Sid, pull up some video of Mark Hector if you can. I'd like your opinion on him and what this guy needs to do to move up into that winner's circle at this point. Is it a conditioning thing? Is it a polish thing? What's going to enable him to make the jump? Because the guy has got insane amounts of muscle on him.
Back thickness. That's it.
I mean, look at the muscle shots. They're just nutty, right?
Yeah.
Delts, pecs, arms. He's got a great look at that side leg. He's got a great drop to his leg. He's got a shitload of muscle on him.
Yeah, just like I said, back thickness. Yeah. Back thickness.
His back is pretty damn wide too.
Thickness, not width, Dave.
No, I know. He's like a king, He's got all the pretty muscle shots. And that's it. Yeah, Xavier, you should come. I'd love for you to live near me. Come down to Cape Coral.
You can take him and his kids to see the beluga whale.
Yeah, exactly.
And the dinosaur that's on its way.
Yeah, that's right. Chris and I have this new project we're going to be doing. I'm going to be ahead of the fact that they're supposedly bringing back the woolly mammoth. They have the DNA. They're going to mix it with an elephant, and they're going to recreate a woolly mammoth. So Chris said, Dave, before any of this goes down, go to the town and get a permit, dinosaur permit. They'll think you're crazy, and they'll just approve it because they'll think that it'll never happen. And this way I'll get grandfathered in. And then when the woolly mammoths come, I can have woolly mammoths on my property next door. I have 3 acres there. And, I'll have to fence it like Jurassic Park, like
no, you can make it like, you can call it Dave Land, like Dolly Land or whatever, like Dolly Park.
Jumbo Land, we'll call it.
Yeah, it could be snake.
Where all the jumbo dinosaurs roam.
It can be like bodybuilding, snakes, right. Woolly mammoths.
So we're gonna have pet woolly mammoths, and we're gonna do tours, and we'll put bodybuilders on. And Blackman will be like, hey, great guerrilla marketing. You put them on double bicep on top of the woolly mammoth.
I told you, Jack Owak.
Holding 2 fiberlize containers, you know.
Jack Owak would sponsor the whole thing.
Oh, he would do an AI energy drink ad there. Yeah, he'd tattoo it on the side of the woolly mammoth probably for the right amount of money. So that's what we're gonna do. But not to say that Mark Hector's a woolly mammoth, but he's got a lot of muscles. What do you think he needs to do to move up? I mean, the guy just more back. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. You know, I mean, he looks good from all angles.
You heard it.
He's just a little bit shy on the back thickness, like side chest, front double, you know, most muscular.
Yeah. Amir Omaragic, Logan. I'm calling Sid Logan now. Amir Omaragic, Sid, pull up the pictures that he posted on his Instagram like before the show. That back shot with the crazy striated glutes. This guy, I mean, you know, you worked with him. He's so hard. I wish his shape was a little better. This guy, he reminds me of Andreas Munzer. I mean,
yeah.
Yes, and those glute shots, I feel like black eye glutes. Get the glutes. Put that glute shot up. I got to put my glasses on for this one.
Most muscular, it's just as tight.
Zoom in on that, Sid, a little bit so people can see what they're talking about. What I'm talking about. What a nutty fucking shot that is. I mean, I don't know. They might be filtered a little bit too, but he doesn't have an ounce of fat on his body. This guy, and he's still under 30 years old, right, Chris?
Yeah, he's far under 30. He might be like 26, I think.
That's crazy. What do you think this guy's potential is moving forward?
You know, it's all a size game for him now because he's probably come into maybe, I don't know, 12 pro shows, and probably most of them he's been top 5. He's only been out of the top 5 a few times. He's been second. He's been third several times. And it boils down to stepping on stage at a bigger body weight because he's going to be peeled.
Yeah.
But, you know, some of his shots, you know, he needs more size on. Because you can't, you know, you can only whittle placings down to conditioning and size and flow, you know. Yeah. But his flow is his flow. You know, his shape
keep talking.
His shape is his shape, his flow is his flow. At a show like this, you know, apparently he just needs to be bigger. And, you know, I don't know, his weight was probably 260s for sure. So Dave probably took a bathroom break. Ian Van at Amazon came with his baby woolly.
Chris, we gotta get the camera on me. Come on. Sid. Get Per Banal on the phone. We gotta get glute shots of Amir. Good glute shots. Close-ups. We're gonna do an ad for Twin. I'm bringing back Twin Lab, Chris. Did I tell you?
It's somewhere, isn't it? Isn't it still selling, Steve? Somewhere.
I'm rebooting it. I'm gonna get Amir. We're gonna do Rip Fuel 2.0.
I thought that it's still. I was told that it's still in business. It's just that.
Chris, I got to tell you something. The reason I brought the puppet out, not to make fun of Black people, but my kids watch. Well, I don't let them, but they sneak it. There's like a YouTube channel with puppets. It's Jeffy, this puppet.
You've told us. He's
like a retarded. He's like a retarded kid. He has like a helmet on, and he has like a pencil through his nose. And I told you, he wears a diaper. So they sell Jeffy puppets in the mall. I tell you, I brought my son a Jeffy puppet. I buy my son
80 or 129. Let me guess, 129.
No. So I buy him the Jeffy puppet. Okay, and I get my daughter one. She wants one too. So they each get a Jeffy puppet because they have different outfits on these things. And I'm like, all right, you're not watching it on YouTube because the language is terrible. But if you really love it, so they play with the Jeffy puppet. Like I play with them. But they were coming in here and they were playing with the Blackman and puppet. Yes, that's Jeffy. They were playing with the Blackman puppet and the George Farah puppet I have. And I'm like, all right, I might as well get him a Jeffy puppet. We can do some skits, you know. And I'm thinking of bringing muscle puppets back now because I got the Blackman puppet. I might get a Kai Green puppet. And I got to get a Chris Aceto puppet and, you know, a Greg Valentino puppet. We'll have to shove some shit in the arms to make the arms bigger for the Valentino puppet. And the reason I'm saying I'm bringing back muscle puppets, these kids on YouTube are making a freaking fortune with this Jeffy show. So my son evidently sneaks the puppet to school. How he did it, I don't know how he did it, because I was driving. I pack his backpack. There's not an ounce of space in that backpack. He must have jammed this thing into the bottom of the thing. I didn't even see it. I guess he was taking it out to school and playing with it. You know, and he got yelled at school, but because he snuck the puppet to school. You know, not the puppet's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the puppet. Obviously, I don't want him watching the YouTube. It's too vulgar and too filthy. But these kids are making so much money on this little puppet show. I blew it. I should have kept muscle puppets years ago. I would have been retired by now if I would have done that. I didn't realize kids love to watch these little puppet shows.
The puppets is far better than this show.
Yeah. I think we're gonna let the puppets do the heavy muscle radio from now on, and we'll put the puppets on camera and we'll just do the voices. And so anyway, that's my puppet story.
You got to get an Ellen puppet to look like me.
That's good. I thought it was pretty funny. All right. I wanted to bring up, they had the Rising Phoenix show, again, as Jake Wood holds that every year. It was, for those of you who don't know the history of the Rising Phoenix show, you know, originally it was designed because they got rid of the Miss Olympia for women's bodybuilding, if you remember that. I don't remember what year they got rid of the Miss Olympia, but they got rid of the Miss Olympia. And these women had no place to go, the bodybuilders. And they were trying to get rid of, it was almost like they were trying to get rid of women's bodybuilding. Well, they were. And then Jake Wood came into the picture. This is before he owned the Olympia. And he started sponsoring women's bodybuilding shows to keep it around. And then he said, well, if they're not going to have the Miss Olympia, this is when AMI owned the Olympia. They wouldn't let him do the Miss Olympia. He's like, I'll hold my own Miss Olympia. So he launched this Rising Phoenix show, which is amazing because they give away a crap load of money in prizes.
What was the first prize, Dave?
I'm trying to find out what they gave this year. In the years past, they've given like 75 grand plus
when they gave
50 grand plus this car. Remember they used to give the I know Helly Nielsen won the Hellfire car.
I coached her the year she won.
That's right, you did. So this is Andrea's 5th win. She's got 5 Olympia wins as well. Last year she lost, if you remember, and then she came back to the Olympia and she looked amazing. Probably the most amazing finish in this thing was Michelle Brent at 5th place. Michelle is over 60 years old. I see her all the time. I just saw her in Pittsburgh. Her and her husband Bill. I love those guys. They're great. They were. They have a jewelry company, Brent's Bling, and I didn't even know she was dieting for the show. She's always in great shape. I'm like, Michelle, I don't know how you do it. You get better with age. How does their placings go up, Chris, as they get in their 60s? She's got to be the most amazing person I've ever seen. I don't know how she does it. And I remember I guest posed at one of John Lindsay's shows back in the 90s, the Excalibur. Remember they used to have the Excalibur at the end of the year?
Yeah.
I was out there and he asked me to guest pose at the show. And Michelle won that show. She was in the amateur show there, and she won that. That's how long Michelle's been competing, probably even before that. She might be the longest active competitor who's still placing, in the pro division. She didn't get a pro card until she was 50 years old. So anyway, I'm so happy for her. Congratulations, Michelle. But congratulations to Andrea. And I'm sure we're going to see her repeat as Miss Olympia again come Olympia time. But she's very dominant bodybuilder. I would like to find out what the prize money, Sid, is. If you can look it up and let us know. Because Jake deserves to get a mention on that because he really, really puts a ton of money into women's bodybuilding. You can't – this guy is like the benefactor of women's body. He's like the Hugh Hefner of women's bodybuilding, truthfully, because he really – without him, there would be no women's bodybuilding. It would be off the map right now. There would be women's physique, but there wouldn't be no women's bodybuilding.
Yeah, 100% true. There'd be no bodybuilding if he didn't, underwrite it.
Yeah. Well, they might not even be an Olympian if he didn't. I'm sure they would, but I mean, he's an important person in this right now because I don't know why we're having trouble getting sponsors. It's interesting. We have in the men's open we have more money than we've ever seen, and yet the other divisions are having trouble. it seems.
So yeah, what do you attribute that to, Dave?
I think it goes back to the fact, and we've said it a million times, that people like open bodybuilding.
Well, that's why I threw you a softball.
Yeah, I know you lobbed me a softball, but look at Urs. Look at the fanfare. This guy was. Let me tell you something. When he was a classic guy, he got a lot of shade. There was people. There were his fans, but then there were the people who didn't really like him that much. Now that he put that muscle on and came into the open division, people are like rallying behind him. If there was anyone, they would lift this guy up and carry him around. I mean, they feel like he's like one of the saviors of the open division. I don't know why these guys don't get it. The open division is where all the glory and money is right now. And if you have the ability to cross over, that's why I guess Bumstead didn't have to. He was making enough money as a classic guy. But if you have the ability to cross over, you should do it. I mean, I think guys like Ramon should do it. Keon should go from 212 to open, which he already says he's planning on doing in 26. Because why not? That's where the glory and money is. What are you doing this for after all? Do you want to win the Junior Olympia, or you want to win the Mr. Olympia? I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, it's great that we have all these other divisions because it gives people a chance and it can act almost as a farm system for new talent. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a star, you gotta, I remember Jake LaMotta in that movie, Raging Bull. He was so disheartened, even though he was the champion. He hated the fact that he said he had small hands, and he knew that he would never be a heavyweight champion because the heavyweight champion of the world was always the greatest boxer, and he always wanted to be the heavyweight champion. He just didn't. He knew that he didn't have the frame for it. So if you have the tool set, and Urs is a tall guy, guys like Ramon are tall, Logan Franklin, go to the open division, man. Lay it on the line. Roll the dice. Be the best that you could be. It's pretty evident in what the amount of money that's available now. I mean,
let me ask you another question, Dave. Could the men's Olympia, if it was held the open division all by itself, would it sell the same amount of tickets at the same price point as like not having the other divisions? So only VIP tickets, let's say. We're going to have the men's Olympia, 3,500 seats, VIP only, or VIP and secondary seats. Would that show sell out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No doubt. No doubt at all. And think about how much money Jake would save if he only had the Mr. Olympia, not having to give all the prize money and the hotel accommodations and the airplane flights. And you're right. So obviously it's not a money thing. The reason he's doing it, it's he's underwriting it as the benefactor of the event. I don't know what the answer. It's a sad statement that's the case. That
it's not a sad, and it's just the reality of where we're at. Men's open. The follow-up question is: would take any other division? Would the classic sell out at the same price point as the VIP tickets are now if it was held by itself? It may actually, but
yeah,
that one is a little bit more questionable than, say, the Open.
I think it would sell out just because people want to see it, but I don't know at the price points that the Mr. Olympia sells out.
Yeah.
Are people going to actually travel to Vegas to see just the classic Olympia alone?
Well, that's the point. I think
some would, but not everyone.
I think when it comes to the Olympia, I think people would travel anywhere on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably could sell out anywhere. So I don't think anything's unique to having it in Vegas.
Yeah.
Is there? I mean, what is the advantage to having it in Vegas?
I don't know.
There may be because everything's together, logistics, in terms of,
How about this for a suggestion? How about hold the Mr. Olympia in Vegas alone, no expo, just the show. You'll sell that thing out.
I didn't say.
Then hold the rest of the Olympia with classic headlining that, obviously, in Orlando, Florida, in the Orange County Convention Center, have the expo there, have the rest of the show there, and you probably could make double the money. the Olympia would certainly be a you'd positive cash flow. You would definitely make money on the Olympia because you wouldn't have to do all the other accoutrements to go with it. And then the other show is the Olympia with the Expo, and let Classic, be the star attraction of that. I think that would be a pretty cool way. And then this way, the Mr. Olympia doesn't always have to be in Vegas. You can shop it around the world because, like you said, people will travel. I'll go to Dubai to watch the Olympia, wouldn't you?
I would go by. I personally would, yeah.
Yeah, I'd go to Dubai. I'd go to England. I'd go to Spain.
Really, I'd go anywhere. So that's. But there's for every me, there's thousands of hardcore fans. I mean, bodybuilding fans are hardcore fans. There's probably, I don't know how many people who have VIP tickets 5 years, 7 years, 8 years in a row.
Yeah.
If you had it in, nothing against Toronto, but I'm just saying Toronto, which is still centrally located.
Oh yeah.
People would fly to Toronto, all the VIP holders. They'd fly to London. They'd fly to. I mean, the tickets, the airline tickets to London is not radically different than they are to, let's say.
No. What about Germany? They would sell that place out in Germany.
Well, Germany, I did see. I heard that the crowd was nuts, and I told you the best bodybuilding fans on the planet, the loudest, is in Germany.
No, you're right.
So,
I've been there.
I've been there for a bodybuilding show when they had I don't know, it was called the Olympia, like after the Olympia or European Olympia or something like that. And it was sold out, and it was the loudest prejudging that I'd been to, including a Mr. Olympia.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only louder contest I ever went to is when I yelled for my son at the Canada Natural Park. It was just one person.
You're the best. I see our good friend Roman Fritz.
Dave, I never yell at shows ever.
I was sitting next to you at the T Nationals. I heard you yelling. You were like a lunatic.
Well, when it comes to, I never yell at shows except when my son competes. And
you yell when you got guys on the Olympia stage in the Arnold. You yell.
When I drove home from Toronto, I called every person I know, just so they could see it on the caller ID, and they say, "You called me, but you hung up." The point was, once I got my voice back, I said, I did call you, but I wanted proof.
No, yeah, you definitely get excited when your son competes, and as you should. I was looking at the list. I saw Roman Fritz, our good friend, was 8th place there. I haven't seen any pictures of him.
Yeah, he looked very good.
Yeah, he's always
shredded. Best he's looked. Biggest.
Where are you seeing pictures of him?
I saw someone. Amir had sent me some pictures.
Okay.
I thought Roman looked by far the biggest, best package, hardest he'd ever been. Post 900 operations or pre 900 operations. Meaning that is, I don't like. I already said I do not like special invites, but I would not invite. He's honorable mention on a fictitious list due to the injuries that he's been through.
Yeah, he's got the greatest legs for someone who's had their hips done like 3 times. 4 times. I don't even know how many times his hip replacement's been done already, but. It's unbelievable that his legs still look that great, right?
Yeah.
I think Roman will be competing when he's 90 years old, to be honest. And I remember when he first started, when he was like 16 or 17 or something like that, So he's a lifer for sure. I wanted to ask you another question because you used to work with William Martins.
Yeah.
Right. And, every time I see him before a show, they got these pictures of him online, and maybe Sid could pull it up. He looks like he's gonna like win the Olympia. He looks so good, and then the show comes, and he comes in his places have been very bad lately. Well, what's going on with him? I know you don't work with him anymore, but any insight into what he's doing wrong?
I don't know. I didn't even know he was in the show. I mean, I didn't see I just saw pictures of the top 5, which is popular on Instagram, and Roman I saw. But
yeah,
I don't know.
There he is. Oop. I mean, he's huge and everything.
300?
273, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that maybe guys try to come in too big. Is it? Did I hear did this guy Kuba? Did he tear his bicep on stage? I think.
Who?
I think he was posing in it and it popped. That's what I heard.
Who?
Kuba Silan from UK. Anyone have any insights on that? I heard he tore his bicep. Well, Amon, it works for me. He told me he heard it, that he popped his bicep.
Yeah, but he lost his credibility with the texts about.
Oh yeah. There was a lot of guys in this lineup. I didn't realize it was such a deep lineup. Amazing. I mean, guys like Theo Leguerre from
He's
France.
got an asterisk next to his name when he over the Patrick Moore debacle texting.
Oh my God! So Lewis Breed had to settle for 6th. Tim Budashine 7th. These are guys. This tells you how deep this lineup was. These guys probably were the biggest, freakiest, hardest guys, but they just didn't have the structure to beat these guys. Oh, what did Xavier say? One guy in Classic did the splits and tore his hamstring. No, I think there was a guy who popped his bicep too. It said he dropped out. I'm looking at the scorecard. Kuba Silan from UK.
Oh yeah, I know of that guy. I think he's a big-time coach. He competes.
Yeah.
Malibon, who competes as coach.
All the German guys came in 7th through 12th.
The IRS is making bodybuilding coach its own. When you click on doing your taxes, you can put on bodybuilding coach. It comes up automatic on the online.
Chris, you're funny. You are very funny. All right, now so pull up all the Olympia qualifiers. Now that we have the full list, let's look at this list with the last couple of minutes we got left here before we wrap up. I want you to give me your assessment. Given now you know who's going to the Olympia, we kind of know who's going to be in that top 6 group.
Yeah,
I was on another podcast. I know that's sacrilegious, but I was on my friend Chris Santamaria's podcast, and they asked me about the Olympian, and they said, who do you think you have? And you know what? For the very first time in the history of picking this person, I think that Hadi Chopin has a very good chance of winning the Olympian. I'll tell you why, because he hasn't done nothing all year. We haven't heard hide nor hair of him. He's in seclusion, almost like Dorian used to do back in the day. And he's obviously, after winning that crazy Arnold and then not really bringing his best last year, he's not happy about that. And he's going to come back and he's going to bring his best to the stage. I think that he's going to surprise everyone and win the Olympia. That's just not that he's my favorite bodybuilder, but I think that he's going to be the most dangerous guy there. What's your thoughts on that prediction?
I think he's been the most dangerous guy there on stage, potentially what he brings several years in a row. So,
I wasn't that impressed with him last year. I thought his legs were dead.
He didn't look good at last year's Olympia. That was simply, he did not look good at the Olympia. He still looked, quote, good, but he didn't look anywhere near his best because he put it on the line at the Arnold. And when you absolutely put it all on the line, your all-time best, then always the subsequent show is simply this: fatigue.
Yeah.
You can't rebuild your body that quickly after really, hitting it out of the park. And so I think we saw a B+ version of Hadi Chopin last year, and he was very vulnerable in a lot of shots, which I've never seen before. But a year of having taken a year off to start the whole process over, including mentally resting and physically resting, he could be extremely dangerous at the Olympia.
Yeah, I agree.
So, to that, to your point, you may be right.
Now, obviously, momentum-wise, I think Derek has got to be one of the most dangerous. Obviously, winning the Arnold, winning the Pittsburgh show, obviously trying to win what we're calling now the Triple Crown, get that Olympia win, which would be his second Olympia win. He's got the stage experience. A betting man would say Derek would have to be, one of the favorites. Obviously, Samson Dowder is the reigning Mr. Olympia, so he's super dangerous. Though I would have to believe those three guys would be the guys that we're going to be seeing in that top call-up. Now, who else is going to be added to that, whether it be Nick Walker, Andrew Jack, Beirut Tabani, if he makes it, among, other guys that are going to be in the lineup? I don't know. I mean, who are your favorites?
I mean, the top 6 from last year are the favorites.
Yeah.
We're going to see different variations of the way they looked last year. Simple as that. Throw in Nick Walker. So that's the top 6 plus him is.
Yeah.
Is
well, we got Beirut Tabani as well.
There's no. I mean, it's a. I used this analogy with someone yesterday, and I just texted it out of the top of my head. It's a very hard show to judge, actually, because everyone has their strong points. So essentially, it boils down to looking for flaws.
Yeah. And
it sounds stupid, but in a very competitive show with a lot of different bodies, tall, short, just wide, not wide, presentation plays a huge role, meaning that here we are doing the third round with 5 guys, and you just can't keep your legs tight on the front double and front lat spread on the third round of those poses. If you're a judge and you think, I have Dave Palumbo third, and then why can't he keep his legs, on this last couple of shots of the prejudging, you mark him. You don't mark him down, but you say like, he faded, couldn't keep the legs tight.
Right.
So it's about the bodies, obviously, but it's also about how you present your body all the way through prejudging. And I don't expect prejudging to be easy to handicap and judge. It just.
What can we expect to see from Andrew?
Huh?
What can we expect to see from Andrew? You want to give us a little
preview
tease?
Andrew's had. I think you'll see more of the Texas win where he got all the hype.
Yeah.
Texas last year. You're not going to see. That's what he's going to look like.
Okay. Big,
round, and he'll be hard. He's definitely. He looks very, very, very good.
It's interesting. We haven't really heard that much from Samson and that much from Andrew, and those are the 2 big guys in the lineup. And I think they could be the most dangerous guys if everything seems to work out in their favor.
I think I honest to goodness think that Andrew's very dangerous. I think Samson's dangerous. Nick is dangerous. Tabani's dangerous. Derek is dangerous. Hardy is dangerous. They all have their attributes. And, we didn't see the best Hardy last year. We didn't see the best Derek last year. We didn't see the best Andrew last year.
We saw a terrible Derek last year, actually.
Yeah. I'll say this on the scorecards. I think Hardy lost by a couple points.
Yeah.
And frankly, I didn't think he looked like him. He looked great. You can't say that he didn't look great, but your first impression.
His legs were down. That's what happened. Yeah.
The minute he came out, I just thought he's not winning. And the minute Derek came out, I thought he's not winning. And the minute Samson came out, I'm like, okay, show's over. He looks a lot like himself, and those guys don't look like themselves. So it's that close.
Right. It'll be interesting to see if Derek and Hardy both come in at their best, and Samson's pretty much what he was last year. How that?
Well, we've seen that Samson's 10 miles ahead of where he was last year.
Well, size-wise, he's ahead.
No,
Let's see what he brings.
condition. He just guest posted. That was like his best condition in his history.
Oh, the guest posing, yeah.
Condition was like nuts.
Yeah, will he bring that to the stage though? That's the question. A lot of things go wrong at the last minute. You know that.
Oh my God,
people do too many things at the last minute. Diuretics. He probably is doing absolutely nothing. He probably just crawled out of bed and that's how he looked.
You know what, Dave? Anything can happen. I don't know how many competitions I've been to where people like, over a gazillion years of prepping people, where people wake up and say like, I have like diarrhea. Like from what?
Right.
Or, something as stupid as like, I can't eat. My stomach, something's killing in my stomach. Yeah. I mean, they still end up looking really good, but not their absolute best.
It's a good look. You're right. I didn't even see this guest posing. Yeah, that was great.
Anything can happen. And you know what, Dave? A lot of times things do happen to people. Like, you have 20 guys in the show. Guaranteed something's going to happen to someone. That's what I mean. Like, I wasn't feeling good 10 days out. I have 4 days out. I was in the gym doing, hamstring curls, and I feel a twitch in my hamstring, and right. I can't quite flex my. People are like, oh, the guy's hamstrings were terrible. Well, he couldn't flex them on stage. You find out like through the QT, like 2 weeks later, Dave Palumbo kind of sort of tore his hamstrings. Yeah. Why did you say it? Because I know one says it too, because if Dave Palumbo's in the Olympia, for example, and he's the top guy, and he twitches his hamstring 4 days before, if he says, I kind of sort of tore my hamstring, everyone's looking at it.
Yeah, everyone's looking at it. Yeah. It's funny. Read what Sid just put. Sampson told us in a recent interview that the plan was torture heading into the Olympia. What does that mean, Sid? Does that mean he's going to torture himself, or is he planning to torture everyone else? Conditioning. Right. Well, I'll say this. Looking at that guest posing, you're right on the mark. Probably the best we've ever seen him, right? In that guest posing. I'm worried that he's saying moving forward that he's going to try to get better conditioning. Maybe better conditioning won't be a better look for him. So what my point was earlier is sometimes we see a look like this, and then at the Olympia, he'll be too soft or too flat. Maybe his skin will be loose. And we'll say, why didn't he just come in looking like he did at that guest posing? If I'm Sampson, I'm looking at that guest posing and he hears what we're saying about how great he looked. Maybe he should just do exactly what he did for the guest posing and not try to chase better conditioning or drier look. Maybe that's not a better option for him. You know what I'm saying? If you find a look that works for you, which it seems like he did here, maybe stick with that. Even if it means you didn't do anything. Maybe just crawling out of bed, in the morning, after a normal day of, eating normally is what you need, is what he needs. Whatever he did for this guest posing, I think he looked really good. I agree with you.
Yeah, he looked tremendous.
I mean, does he really need to change anything from that? Not really.
I said I think that's his best look ever.
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't know if harder is going to be better. He might look flatter,
But I don't know if he can get flat.
Believe me, he can get flat. But anyone can get flat. But the point is that I think that when a guy finds a look that works, go back and say, what did I do leading up to this look? And just duplicate it.
Yeah.
I think people think that they have to do so many specific things in the days leading up to a show that sometimes all those things that they do ruin the way they look. And for some people, it makes them better. Absolutely. Right.
Yes.
But when you have a genetic physique that doesn't play by the rules, sometimes less is better, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
sometimes Dave, you got to keep the lactose and the galactose and the fructose, in.
I tell them, dry and hard. They don't listen. Dry and hard. And as we say every week here at Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
The truth hurts. We'll see you next week, guys.